Welcome, folks, to another edition of the Comic Book Council with myself and Jordan. Introduce yourself, sir.
Yeah, it's me. I'm sure you heard my voice before.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are back, folks. I know y'all been yearning to hear us talk about comic books again. It's been a while. It has been a while. We've been through a journey of not reading like we're supposed to, but hey, we're back now.
That's all that matters. We're back.
Yeah, we tap back in. And yeah, so today, just like we did with the last comic book council, we're just going to go through different issues we've been reading, kind of describe the story a little bit, our thoughts on it. And yeah, have a good time talking about comic books. So I mean, it's a lot of different comic books out there, so we're definitely gonna hit on a few. We're not gonna hit on literally everything out there, but
Yeah.
should
And I
be
will
simple.
say, just like last time, I didn't bring all Marvel. So
Yeah,
you will have a little sneak peek of, or I guess a little surprise of what I'm reading.
yeah, a little variety. I did a little Marvel, a little DC. I'm not as keen to reading independent comics like you are.
You're not
Um,
tapped in, man. You're not tapped in. That's it. That's
I
all.
mean, I'll make my way there. It's just so much to catch up on with DC and Marvel. It's tough to then hop out to a universe I don't really know. You know what I mean, and learn all the scope and all that stuff. And now
I
I'm
get
reading
it.
Star Wars comics, and it's just I'm an expert on that already.
Oh
You know,
man, we're not gonna go there.
but okay, let's get right to it. I can go first. And so the first, and I'll kind of speak about mine because I read the first issue and the second issue, but it is Cosmic Ghost Rider. You heard about our last comic book council. Also loved that comic and I read that comic. But in this one, we have a brand new writer, pretty much just revamping the character, or like, I won't say a full reboot because they kept the connected story from last time. But this one, the writer Stephanie Phillips and the artist is Juan Cabal. And they essentially are just adding on to the story. Um, Basically, what happened last time was where Donny Cates kind of left it was where Cosmic Ghost Rider kind of goes through and kills the world. And he kind of does it for his own kind of morality or kind of ego. And then he ends up joining the Guardians of the Galaxy. And then after the Guardians of the Galaxy, he retires and kind of goes back to just being old Frank Castle. But in this case, Stephanie Phillips brought it. And again, only first two issues, but so far, really good. Essentially, they're having it to where he's retired, but he has a bounty on his head because apparently, I think that's where the story's leading, anyways. There's another cosmic ghost rider out there who is just
Mm.
murdering people, just
Oh
out there,
wow.
just blowing dudes' heads off on a consistent basis. And so Frank is literally running from different bounty hunters and he's living with these people. He's actually like working in their store. He's like I think he's like doing little chores for him to try to he has a room upstairs that he's renting for free. So he does chores to kind of, make up for it. And
Yeah.
then a bounty hunter shows up and kills the people who's helping him, kills the dad. And so it's basically a story to where it seems as if he's being framed and there's another cosmic ghost rider out there murdering people. And this guy called I think it's Morok Stark. Have you ever heard of Morok Star Stalker?
I don't think so.
Okay, he's a new character to me. He looks kind of normal, but he's new and he's kind of a bounty hunter. He's kind of the main one going after him right now. He has a bird who's like really like he's kind of a droid, kind of classic Star Wars, really smart, kind of gives him all the little, tech details he needs.
Yeah.
And he's kind of a cool character. And he's after going after Frank right now. And Frank's basically telling him like, "Hey, I'm not that guy." But essentially, Frank retired, but due to this Star Stalker attacking him and Frank's friends, Frank finally turns back into Cosmic Ghost Rider. Um, but so far, man, it's pretty good story so far. Like it's only two issues in. I really like the art. It's definitely not as good. I won't say it's as good as Donny Cates because Donny Cates obviously created the character. So like the
Yeah.
jokes aren't as good, and the comedy and the dialogue of Cosmic Ghost Rider isn't as good. but still pretty good, still solid. It's kind of hard to take a character and then write for them, in their voice. Especially Cosmic
Yeah.
Ghost Rider hasn't been out that long.
Yeah. You don't know what the original creator kind of intended for, so you're just kind of trying to put your own spin on it.
Right, exactly. And I mean, so far pretty good. Like it hasn't been like a glaring difference. It's not as good, but it's pretty good so far. And the art in the book is pretty good. It's kind of consistent with the last one. I think there was a totally different artist on the last few runs. So but yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this run. And I'm definitely gonna pick up number three and see where it leads. Cosmic Ghost Rider is one of my favorite characters they've come up with.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna keep going.
Who do you think the other Cosmic Ghost Rider is? If you could take a
I
guess.
I can't tell. Oh, forgot to mention. Glad you asked. So at the end of number two, this fake cosmic Ghost Rider, I guess, is about to kill like this nun or like this monk. Who's a blind monk, and he's about to kill him. And he promised,
Oh,
yeah, I know. And he promised the monk. The monk was like, "Okay, don't shoot me." And the fake cosmic Ghost Rider was like, "All right, no guns." And he was like, "Okay, cool, I'm good." And then eventually, the fake Cosmic Ghost Rider is like, I said I wasn't gonna kill you with guns. Doesn't mean I'm not gonna kill you with one of his spikes." And he goes to try to kill him, and Valkyrie shows up. And
hmm.
so Valkyrie is now that kind of leads into this new issue. And I believe you might be able to tell me this. I'm not sure, but it looks like Valkyrie has the Phoenix Force.
Whoa, I would say if that have the last thing I read, Echo had the Phoenix Force,
Okay, because it
but it's been a
it
while since I read that.
it definitely looks like, and I can show you this.
Now Valkyrie, it is the now I know at one point it was the Lady Thor. Is it still Lady
Okay.
Thor or no?
In this one, I think it's just the regular Valkyrie.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, it seems like she has the Phoenix Force. I can't quite tell, but it definitely is a cool little. I wasn't expecting Valkyrie to show up.
Yeah.
But to your question, yeah, I have no clue who this is. Like, there's no inklings. There's no like little signs. It's just a Cosmic Ghost Rider in a gray suit and just like blowing people's heads off. And I have no clue who it is. So it'll
Okay.
be interesting. It'll be interesting.
Okay.
What do you
Um,
got for us?
well, first up on my list is actually a DC comic.
Hey,
Yeah,
I know.
but
I know this is. I already know it's a
yeah,
catch.
you
I
already know
already
what it
know.
is. There's a catch to it.
I
The
already
one
know.
I'm going over is the Flintstones. Uh, yeah, DC made
Okay.
a Flintstones comic that came out in 2016, and Mark Russell is a writer. I really like Mark Russell; he's a pretty good writer. But this comic is kind of like, and I read both volumes. So there's two volumes, I believe, 24 issues. I've read both of them, but I'll probably just kind of go over like some of the highlights in the first volume.
Hmm.
And the comic is really more like a real life satire almost. Like they deal with some of the issues like in our world that we deal with now with like as far as racism, religion, like they deal with a lot of that stuff, PTSD from military, like they deal with a lot of that stuff. But they kind of handle it in a funny way. So like in the beginning, you kind of see them start out as like hunter and gatherers. You kind of see Fred Flintstone, he's like a hunter, and then one day they kind of fast forward a little bit and they just make the jump to the big city where Fred is no longer just a hunter gatherer. You can kind of see him start to move into the big city. So he buys a house and everything. And he has to kind of adjust to this new lifestyle of like living in the city, living with people instead of like just roughing it the way he did. So really, in the first volume, the first few issues, we really just see like the day to day lives of like the Flintstones. You also see Barney. You see them how they kind of deal with some of their environment. Wilma she has like trouble finding a job. She becomes like a painter, and she just has like a lot of
Ooh.
trouble just finding a job. And so she's like expressing herself to Fred, like her paintings are amazing, but she's not getting a chance because she's a woman. So you
Mm.
kind of see how that relates to like things that's happening today.
Right.
Um, there's another scene where there's another panel where kind of Fred deals with he was in a war. You kind of see he and when we talking war, you know they mess with sticks and stones.
Right.
But he has like PTSD from like being in the war. And so
Oh,
he's
wow.
also trying to adjust to the city and trying to find like a real job. He can't find a job. He ends up being like a door-to-door salesman selling vacuum cleaners. As far as vacuum cleaners, like a I can't remember. It was like a some type of armadillo type animal, type
Mm,
creature, and
yeah.
like literally people just stored in the closet. And then we also it's kind of funny because we also kind of follow that. We follow that vacuum cleaner as like it goes through the life cycle of like dealing with other appliances. So like the dishwasher is just like another dinosaur just spitting out water. So we kind of follow that, and then also it's like some really good scenes where we deal with the kids. So with Bam Bam and Pebbles, they
Hmm.
actually run into like a religious cult, and it's like that when they run into them, it's like super funny because like they have no idea what's going on, and the cult thinks like the world is ending. Um, it's just like a lot of crazy nonsense. This comic to me, like honestly, like is really good. Like I definitely recommend this to like a lot of people. If you, especially if you like almost like satire type comedy, like real life in
Right.
some of your comics. Like I think this is like a really good one. And I will mention like the art is really good too. Um it's not like realistic, but
Hmm.
it kind of gives like I don't know how to describe it. It's not the realistic look to it, but it also kind of gives off the cartoonish look to it.
Hmm.
And yeah, man, this comic is it's really good. Like I definitely recommend this to a lot of people. We also kind of see the Martian, if you remember Martian from the Flintstones.
Yeah.
He also appears in volume 2. And yeah, him and Fred, they no, I think Bam Bam and Pebbles are the only one who can see him. And so they kind of have like a good relationship back and forth, which is also pretty funny. Man, this comic to me is like amazing. Like I said, I've read all 24 issues. I don't want to give away a lot because I think a lot of people should go and check this one out.
Right.
But it's a really good read. And I remember DC at this point was also kind of putting out other Hanna Barbera comics. So they kind of deal with Johnny Quest. I remember there was Johnny Quest comic. There was a Jetsons comic. And then I think this Flintstones is the one that kind of really hit, and this one was really good. So
Yeah, it
yeah.
looks kind of, the art is very interesting. It's like, kind of reminds you like early 2000s art.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
real,
I really like it. Like they
yeah.
did a really good job.
Oh, that's dope.
So yeah, that's mine though. What's your
Okay.
number two?
My number two is the wonderful Tom King. Batman Brave and
That's
the Bold, number one.
that's a big name right there. People need to know that one.
Yeah, bro. So, story behind, I went to the comic book store. Cool. I saw a comic kind of thick, and I saw Superman on it. I'm like, bet. All right, let me see. And I always gravitate, and I think a lot of people do, but like number ones, like the start of a run, I'm definitely
Right.
going. I'll try to jump into that. And in this case, Tom King and the artist is Mitch Gerard's, one of
Oh
my
yeah, they do
favorite.
a lot of work together. Yeah.
Yeah, Mitch Gerard's like probably one of my favorite artists out. And in this one, I need to figure out when this came out. I want to say it was new because when I picked it up from the comic book shop, it looked in the new area. But basically, this is like year one of Batman, and so it kind of just is, and Tom King, he kind of breaks it down in different. And Mitch Gerard's, they kind of break things down in like almost like 8 different panels, almost even like I want to say it's like what was it like 9 different panels on one page, and it kind of
Uh
each
huh.
little box tells a story, and it was
Hmm.
just really fun to read. Um, Bro, it was dark as hell. Like it was one where Batman was chasing this dude who had just murdered his wife, and the dude is like running from him, and like he's like it felt very like the Batman sort of, but the dude's running like shooting at Batman, and Batman like keeps coming, and the dude trips and like falls on a train track, and so he's like cussed at Batman. He's like, dude, like I had to do what I had to do. I had to kill her, blah, blah, blah. And Batman's like closing in. And then the dude, I guess, like turns and like breaks his knee or whatever. And then the dude's talking shit to Batman. And then you hear a train start to come.
Yeah.
And then the dude starts changing his energy. He's like, okay, okay, all right, I just need your help. Like, get me off this track. And like Batman is like waiting till the exact like the last second to help
The
this
last
dude out.
second.
Yeah, like I legitimately thought this dude was about to die, and and yeah, he kicks him off the tracks. Tracks go by. and the dude thinks he's okay, and then Batman just like steps on his face and like knocks him
Dang.
out. Yeah, like knocks him smooth out. Now, the darkest part of this comic was I don't want to give too much of the storyline, but bro, there was one where this little black girl, I was like, please, Lord, like please. Once I saw the little black girl, and then you see she's basically it shows a panel of her dad like calling and being the police and being like, hey, I just need you to find her. She's wearing a green dress. She has an umbrella. Like you just need to find her. And then you just hear him crying. And then next panel, you see this little girl walking around with an umbrella and she's talking to somebody, but you don't know who she's talking to. And she's
Oh
like,
man.
yeah, she's I'm so like she's not like crying or anything. She's just like, I'm a little lost, but oh, you're nice. You have a balloon. Oh, okay. What is that balloon about? Like, what is you don't have an umbrella? Why don't you have an umbrella? You're like, who the hell is she talking to? And then the next panel is just a black. It's not. It didn't even show the image. It just shows like his words. And so you're like, who the fuck is this? But then you're like, your mind starts racing, and you're like,
Yeah.
and then of course the person's talking back to the girl. She's talking to him. It's all good, and then you find out she's sitting on a bench next to the Joker.
Oh
And
man.
yeah, bro, and that my heart dropped. I was like, oh
Yeah, it's not gonna
no.
end well for her.
Yeah, I was like, come on, man, not like we can't let my look like she was a cute looking black girl. Like it was a very good draw. Shout out to Miss Gerard for drawing her well, but like I was like, no. But then their
Damn.
relationship starts to grow. They start to talk about little stuff. They played hide and seek. It was very sinister though. Like every time Joker talked, it was just a black background. Like you couldn't see what he was saying. It was just you could just it had in quotes what he was saying.
Yeah.
And yeah, they were playing hide and seek and stuff. And then he eventually tells her like, "Hey, let's go back to your house. Do you know where you live? All this stuff." Goes back to her house, and the dad is like so happy to see her. Like he rings the doorbell, or they ring the doorbell. He comes down, sees her, he's so happy, and the Joker's like just standing there. And then the dad's like, "Oh my god!" He hugs the girl. He looks up, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, thank you." And no, he says like, "Thank," and then it stops, and then he just falls to the ground. And then you just see the Joker with a knife with blood in his hand, like
Oh,
a
right in
knife on the
front of the
blood,
kid.
right in front of the girl. And the girl's like, "Daddy, why are you red?" Blah blah blah. I was like,
Oh man.
"Bro, come on, dog!" Like, bro, it
I
was
see
basically a horror movie.
I see the girl too. I actually found the panel you were just describing where she's like sitting on the bench and the Joker just like looking down and
Yeah,
has a balloon in his hand. Kind of reminds you like it.
yeah, really, bro. It legit sounded like because like the conversation they were having, it was just ominous, bro. Like every word he said, you were like, "Oh shit!" Like, oh no. And so, yeah, it was really good, man. Like it wasn't a ton of storyline in this first one, but it kind of just was setting the tone. It was very like the Batman.
Yeah.
Like I could definitely see someone from the Batman looking at this and like getting that vibe from it. But man, it was really good. The art was great. The setup was great. Like I said, in those panels, like she's talking to somebody you don't know who it is, and your mind's racing. So yeah, it was really good. Batman Brave and the Bold #1 was really good. Tom King killed it once
I
again.
was every time I hear people talk about the Brave and the Bold, like I think it's an anthology series. Like I think
Mm,
it changes maybe from maybe arc to arc or even issue to issue. Because like
yeah.
did this one end? Like did it have ending to it or no?
No, it just
Okay.
continued. Like, and this was a weird one because it's like it's one comic, but it had three different stories in it.
Yeah, so
So,
yeah, that's what I mean by it's an
oh, okay,
anthology series. So
okay,
yeah,
maybe
that's what
that's
I'm
what it
picking up.
is.
Yeah. I was like every time I've always heard about like listening to other podcasts and they talk about the Brave and the Bold. I guess that's what it Brave and Bold has always been. So
Okay,
Batman teams up with other people.
yeah, and that's usually what I usually gravitate towards Brave and the Bold because it's usually him and Wonder Woman or him and Superman
Yeah.
and Wonder Woman. The Trinity and everything. So, but that was definitely worth it. Like a really good read.
Okay. All right. Well, my next one is I'm going over to Marvel this time, and I'm actually going to the X-Men universe.
Surprise,
I'm not.
surprise.
I know I'm not going to give a whole lot of background to this one because if I go into a lot of background, it's going to be a lot confusing for a lot of people. And this
Okay.
one actually isn't over with. This is a mini series. It has 5 issues right now. The fifth one hasn't came out yet, but I read the first 4. And this is Bishop War College. So if people don't know,
Mm.
you know, Bishop the Time Traveler.
Hmm.
And this one is actually written by a black writer. His name is Jay Holtman, and you will kind of see. I knew he was a black writer as I was reading it. Um, but in the beginning of the story, we kind of open up to Bishop just training like this new group of young mutants. I'm not going to go into their name. And there's also kind of two stories going on at the same time. But he's training his new group, and he's going pretty hard on them. Like they're like getting beat down pretty bad, and he's just like, get up again. And so it gets to the point where the like this young group, they want to quit. They're like, no, like you're going too hard on us. We don't want to train anymore, and you're doing
Right.
too much. And at the same time, Magic from the X-Men came and kind of talked to him and was like, "Hey, I think not Magic. Who was it? Um, it might have been Magic." But she was like, "Hey, you kind of are going pretty hard on all of these young kids." And it's like,
Hmm.
I think you should kind of lay off them. He's like, "No, I have to keep them ready for what's coming." And they're like, "Okay, we're living on a peaceful island because at this point in the comics, the X Men are on an island just to themselves." And he's like, "No, we have to be prepared." So everyone quits, and at the same time, we see another panel where the Strucker twins come in. So Varen Bond Strucker, you know, he's part of like the Red Skull and all that. He has two twins that are actually mutants, and they were able to kind of infiltrate the island. So no one knows they're there, but they are watching everything that's going on, and they have a plan of their own. Um, so Bishop, we see him. He kind of wakes up from a nightmare of like everyone around him is just dead, and he's just like, I have to get everyone trained. I can't have them happen go into the future that I had because Bishop came from like a terrible timeline. And, you know, that's the
Hmm.
whole reason why he came back.
Right.
So he's talking to Magic also. He's like, hey, I know I'm going hard, but the reason I'm going hard is because I want them to live. And so it's like I want them to be able to live. And so he's like, they will come back to me. Eventually we do see them come back to Bishop. And so they're all training again. And then Bishop actually says, hey, I have a new training place we go to. So they kind of go like to an underground area underneath the island, and Bishop set up like a whole little training exercise with actual people. And he actually runs into another mutant. And I've completely forgot her name just now, but she basically has the power, I think, kind of like to like freeze time for a little bit, so she can kind of manipulate time.
Hmm.
Um, so so they're training with them. You know, they're going pretty hard. She stops time, and then as she stops time, kind of the Strucker twins kind of invade, and so the Strucker twins basically whenever they get together, I really don't honestly I don't even know what their power is, but whenever they get close together, they can like have some type of power manipulation or something like that.
Hmm.
So they actually hit the girl who can freeze time, and then she actually ends up her powers flipped out, and Bishop and her get transported into another universe. So
Yeah.
the biggest catcher is when Bishop wakes up in this other universe, he wakes up and sees a black Cyclops and a black Jean Grey.
What?
And yes, when I tell you, I was like, what? Like, what? Well, like, what's going on? So, like, I had to continue reading. So, like, in issue 2, he completely wakes up. He sees the entire team of X-Men is black. Bro, Beast got dreads. Professor X is like this bald black dude. Like, everybody is black. And I was like, what? And this was like the whole reason. Like, I normally don't buy a lot of X-Men miniseries because a lot of it don't be good. But when
Yeah.
I saw that they were like, they had a bunch of black X-Men, I was
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I gotta pick this up and read it. So like we see so like also like Nightcrawler, he's still blue, but he has like two dreaded horns in front of him. Like
Wow.
everyone was like completely black. And so like actually in the comic, so let me back up. So the black X-Men attack Bishop because Bishop like comes out of nowhere and they're like, who are
Right.
you? And he's like,
Right.
no, what's going on here? Like, y'all don't look nothing like the people I'm used to. And
Yeah.
so the black Professor X comes out and he's like, let me read his mind. He connects everybody together. And they're like, whoa, like you coming from like a whole different universe. And
Right.
like it's funny, like Bishop like also kind of meets other people that's part of like the Quiet Council, and Emma Frost is there. Of course, Emma Frost is black. And she has some words of exchange with another character, and he's like, yo, you was black. I mean, you was white in this other world. She's like, I couldn't even imagine it. Like she's like, yeah, I couldn't see this. And so they actually go outside of the island because they have to go find the other girl that came over, Bishop. Dude, they come outside, everybody's black. Like the
What?
entire universe is black. And like they don't even address it. The thing that they really address is in this universe, the X-Men and the humans, they work together. So there's no, animosity between the two. They work together for everything. And Bishop doesn't trust it. He's like, no, they're the humans are always bad. And so like we see like a black Iron Man. We see I think in the background, it kind of looked like a black Johnny Storm, not yeah, Johnny Storm from the Fantastic Four.
Mm,
Um, yeah, and they don't address it like everybody being black. They don't even address it. Like it's just a normal thing. And I was like completely shook by this. And so I was like, that was a pretty cool thing. I want to keep reading.
that's dope.
So yeah, I'm gonna stop right there just because I don't want to spoil it, and also I haven't finished the end of it. But it's an interesting read.
I'm looking at the art. First of all, looks dope as hell. First of all, Jean
Yeah.
Grey looks beautiful, if I can say that. And then Wolverine, like Wolverine looks dope.
Yeah, Wolverine
Um,
has like a little face mask on or something.
yeah.
Uh,
I'm assuming that's Iceman.
yep. Yeah, see the Black Iceman, see the Black Angel. It's like, yeah.
Oh man, Bishop got the taper fade. Shout out to them.
This new Bishop, he look a little different.
Yeah, Bishop got the twist with the sharp fade in the back. Now, this looks dope though.
Yeah. Nah, I was like, this
Just
is this is gonna be a good one. I say everybody's black. I gotta see the other story that they're telling. I'm not a big fan of. I'm worried about following these Black X-Men. Like that's pretty cool.
how about you? Was it a big controversy? Do you know?
I don't even know. Nobody talked about it.
For real, I've
Like at
never
least
read
I didn't
about
hear
this
about it.
until now. That's crazy. And now, like, I'm seeing pages where they're like recasting the MCU X-Men as black, all of them black. That's funny.
I mean, I do know a lot of people they want to see a Black Cyclops. So hey, that'll be wild if we
Yeah,
got one.
that would be crazy. I mean, I'm not against it. I'm not a Cyclops guy, but good look. He'd be a character I'd be cool with. I know you would probably hate it, but
Nah, yeah, nah. Let's go ahead and keep him white. We don't want it.
that's hilarious. No, it's a good pick though. Okay, my last pick is Superman, Order of the Black Lamp. This one, man, it was cheesy. It looked like the Superman animated series. It was written by Christopher Cantwell, and the artist was Javier Rodriguez.
Mhm.
Bro, the art alone is beautiful, bro. It looked like, and the thing I love about Superman is it's corny. I like it. I like corniness. I like the charm of it, and that's what this was like. It was one where it was one scene in it where someone's trying to break into I guess like the biggest vault there is in Metropolis, and they open the thing up, and Superman's sitting there leaned up against the gold, and like, all right, not tonight, fellas. Like super corny shit, but like that's
Yeah.
classic Superman. You know what I mean? And so it also like to open it up. There was he's like basically, how they do like dialogue while stuff is happening. They give
Yeah.
you kind of a narration while stuff is happening. That's kind of what starts it off. Superman's kind of narrating of like memories and his childhood, and how he had a crush on this girl during some camp, but he could never remember her name. Like now he can't remember her name, and it showed basically him coming in saving like a ship crew who was about to go down, and he comes in and saves the whole ship. But it just like looked really cool. Like you could tell the guy Javier Rodriguez may have been like inspired by the animated series, the '90s animated series, by just the way it looks. We get a lot of like Lois Lane, who's like the editor in chief now of the
Yeah.
Daily Planet, and it's funny because she's like basically she's telling Clark Kent like you're trash at writing, like you got to get better, like, and then she to end it. I don't want to give too much away, but essentially they they get this new Superman gets this gift, and it's basically like an encrypted message saying to save me. And so he's like, "Oh, okay, I gotta check this out. Like maybe someone's in trouble." And um, Lois is like, all right, like Clark Kent kind of trash right now writing. But what if Superman like wrote an article? Like, what if he went on an adventure
Yeah,
and then told us about what happened? You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, I never thought of that. Like, I never
yeah,
thought, you know what I'm saying, of him like blogging basically his
the adventure.
adventure. Yeah, what he went through, what he's seeing, and she was like, what if we did that? And and she said, no, it's actually Clark's idea. And she was like, yo, you're cooking with gas. I was like, all right. Like, what do we like? All right. She
Yeah,
would never say
trying
that.
to be a little hip. Yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
about all
like
that.
Lois wouldn't say that. But yeah, it was just really good. And it was like a beautiful comic to read, like to look at. Like the art is beautiful. It's very like 90s animation style, like not a bunch of like extra lines, just very like straight line, kind of more
Yeah,
boxy faces, kind of classic like DC 90s animation. But it was really fun to read. It just reminded me kind of why Superman is so beloved. It didn't try to do too much, didn't try to make him dark, didn't try to do too much extra. Really focused on Clark and Lois' relationship and like the wonder of the world. So really enjoyed it. Superman, Order of the Black Lamp, pretty good.
I'm saying Superman had an IG account and definitely be fire.
No, I would like, yeah, the stuff he be saying, bruh, fire.
Yeah. All right. My last comic, coming straight from IDW, is Power Rangers versus Godzilla. And I was waiting
Oh,
on this one. I've been
okay.
waiting on this one.
I
So
haven't
I
read
finally
this one,
finished the
folks.
entire
Just so y'all
series.
know.
Yeah, I finally finished the entire series, and I'll just go over issue number one. I won't go over
Okay.
everything, but it's written by Colin Bunn, which is also a really good writer, and it came out in
Okay.
November 2022. So
Okay.
the first issue starts off kind of with the Green Ranger. He's infiltrating the temple where Rita Rasputa is and Godar. They kind
Repulsive,
of
but
taking
we'll
the.
we'll roll with it.
Dude, I always do that. Fuck, I always
We'll
do
roll
that.
with it.
So Rita and Godor, they're taking over this temple and they're looking for this artifact that basically will allow her to travel the multiverse because she wants to go to a universe where the Rangers aren't there, so she
Hmm.
can rule, find a power big enough, and then come back to this universe and beat them.
Yeah.
Um, so then basically she takes over the temple, she takes the crystal, and she gets transported basically to our planet. And so this planet is actually being run by Godzilla. And
Right.
so she gets there. Godzilla's fighting against a monster named Megalon, and she's like, "Who is this powerful beast? Like, I need him." And so
Hmm.
she immediately gets there. She gets beamed up by these space people, who basically kind of keep an eye on Godzilla and as well as like other monsters from this universe and just kind of keep an eye on them. So Rita and Godar, and she got two other minions there. They fight these space people. They easily take over. They easily beat these space people. And so she's basically in control of everything. So I mean not Zordon. So the Green Ranger also got swept up when she went to this other multiverse.
Mm.
So he wakes up and he see Godzilla like basically about to attack him. So because like
Gotcha.
Godzilla defeated the first monster, so he's about to attack the Green Ranger. Green Ranger immediately wakes up, summons the Dragon Zord.
Fire.
So this is when you get the first real fight, the Dragon Zord versus Godzilla. Um, Godzilla definitely took down the Dragon Zord. Just going to let that now.
This cap. That's cap, bro.
So he took it over. He beats the Dragon Zord, and then so now not Rasputa, Rita sees how powerful Godzilla is. She was like, also she didn't know the Green Ranger was there, so she was very shocked to see the Dragon Zord there. She saw
Right.
the Dragon Zord get taken down. She's like, I need Godzilla. Like, I want that power. And the space people telling her like, this is Godzilla. He's the most powerful creature on this earth. You cannot do anything to take him.
Hmm.
So we also kind of see Zordon at the same time says, hey, he tells the other five Rangers, I can't get in contact with the Green Ranger. I need you guys. I'm about to teleport you guys to kind of the last time I got a ping from his morpher. And so
Yeah.
they send all five Rangers there. And then we see they appear there, and then the comic kind of ends where they are seeing the destruction that Godzilla brings with them. So
Mm.
that's where issue one ends. I will tell you for sure that this one is definitely full of action. Like there was no downtime really from them fighting against the Megazord,
Hmm.
for them doing some combinations. I don't want to spoil it too much for you, but yeah,
Uh,
this was nice. And you also kind of see a lot more Godzilla. Godzilla's creatures. I
Hmm.
will say King Ghidorah does show up. So if people are familiar with Godzilla, King Ghidorah shows up, and once King Ghidorah comes, it's always a problem. So if you've
Gotcha.
seen, I think it was the second Godzilla movie from the reboot, like it's the huge three-headed dragon.
Gotcha.
So
Damn.
yeah,
Okay.
that
Now,
one is
shit,
definitely a good time. There was no, I'm telling you, there was no downtime.
for
Like
real.
they get at it.
I wonder. Okay, hold on. You said who'd you say wrote it?
Cullen Bun, Cullen
Oh,
Bun,
boy.
yeah.
Okay. I don't think he's written any other Power Ranger stuff. I don't think.
I don't think so.
Because I don't recognize his name on the comics
I
that
mean,
I've read.
he's done. I mean, Deadpool kills the universe. He's done.
Gotcha.
Uh, yeah, he's done a lot of Deadpool for sure. He was also an independent comic that he's big on independent comics as well. Definitely wrote Spider Man. He wrote X-Men for a little bit, so he's definitely been around.
Yeah, and Power Rangers just does it. And I'm assuming is this from Boom?
It's from IDW. So,
Oh, okay, gotcha. That may be.
so actually, sorry, I mentioned it's IDW and Boom
Oh, okay.
because
Pardon me.
because
Good.
it's a
Okay,
crossover.
gotcha, gotcha. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of big high reviews for it, like as a series in general. Um,
Yeah, and it's all part of, like, the Power Rangers have been doing a lot of crossovers here lately. They did
yeah,
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You see them with Street Fighter. So
yeah. I have hot take for all that. I am not a fan of Power Rangers like whoring ourselves out to these other IPs who we are better than, and then we get nothing from it. Like,
yeah,
like we did crossover with Ninja Turtles. Ninja Turtles has been flying off the shelf because they, made a toy with Ninja Turtles who actually morphed into Power Rangers. Those been
yeah,
flying off the shelves. Um, Ninja, like Power Rangers vs Street Fighter, been flying off the shelf. We never get anything from like they basically jump on our clout and then benefit from it. You know what I'm saying? Even I ain't gonna say, but Justice League versus Power Rangers, that was really well done. Like that was a
yeah.
really
That's
good
how I heard that
comic.
one. I heard that one was good.
Yeah, like they really haven't missed. Power Rangers versus anything has not missed so far. I just kind of want Power Rangers to benefit in some way from it. Like right now, it's basically like, ooh, the IP versus Power Rangers. Then the IP gets to turn into Power Rangers, and I'm just like, okay, all right, we're not getting anything from this. But this is cool though. Obviously, this is something my kid brain would love to read. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
might have to tap into this one though.
yeah. I mean, I will say Godzilla's that dude. But also, he definitely has some troubles. I will say he has some troubles going up against a few of the Zords. I don't want to say which ones, but
So, okay, fill me in here. Is this the
mhm.
original team? Is this Billy,
Yep,
Tommy? Okay,
it's the
okay,
original Mighty Morphin Rangers.
got you. Okay, that's good to know. Because in the other, and I'm because in the Power Rangers right now, we're kind of on the second team right now, where we're Rocky and Adam and Aisha and all that. So, okay, good to know.
Yeah, no, it's the first one. Um, I did. I was like, I guess Zordon can kind of sense where any Ranger is, no matter
Yeah, he
where
can.
there's. Okay.
Based on Alpha and yeah, the Morpher and everything. Um, yeah, and they kind of have their little globe that they look at to see if a new bad guy shows up or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they don't really explain their tech very well, but yeah,
Yeah, because how did he know? And then also, like, I don't want to spoil the end of it, but the end of I'm just like, how did that happen?
yeah.
But
Okay, I'm gonna
yeah,
have to check that one
that's
out.
all three of mine. So what were your three?
My three were Cosmic Ghost Rider, 1 and 2, then Batman Brave and the Bold, and then Superman Order of the Black Lamp Part 1. I'm gonna definitely look at Part 2.
Okay. I had first volume of the Flintstones. I had the first issue of Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers versus Godzilla, and then issue one of Bishop War College. So
Nice. When did the War College one come out?
yeah, I forgot to mention they came out September of last year.
Okay, I was gonna say just because the art and everything, it just looked newer, so I was like,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't miss it. I
Actually it was
definitely.
this year. Actually it was this year. Sorry, January this year.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not done yet.
Yeah. I yeah, folks. Appreciate y'all. We definitely gonna try to keep this more consistent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My summer goals is to read a lot more comic books in general, but definitely comic books. Jordan, are you gonna also
Yeah, I mean,
be a
I'm
part of
I'm gonna
this?
continue. I'm gonna continue reading as long as you're reading. I'm reading.
Jordan always say I don't read, but he'd be doing the same thing I'm doing, so it's fun. But yeah, I appreciate y'all listening to another comic book council. And how we want to finish? We want to do our regular.
I mean, we out.
We out, baby. We out.